just talk a little astrology as I'm getting ready to do deep astrology, which is on highvibe.tv. But behind the scenes here at my desk, where I do the astrology, full moon in Virgo week, finishing the Saturn Uranus square. That's the beginning of it this year. I'm done with this Mercury retrograde, although this Mercury retrograde, even though all the planets are direct and Mercury's direct, with all the Aquarian energy and the Pisces and a full moon in Virgo, it's a little wonky still. Even though it feels like there's some energy that's calmed itself down. I said Venus coming into Pisces, which I think is a positive thing. But I wanted to talk about something very unique, which I'm going to be talking about on deep astrology a lot today. But I don't know if many people have actually spent the time and looked at the full moon yet, but it's going to be with Lucifer. So some people, I don't know, a lot of people might not be running Lucifer in their charts. Oh, sorry.
You can barely get over here, but I gotta see the charts.
You can just tell me, like, I'll just do things. And I think if you like tap it, it might be clear to see, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll adjust the light. I don't know. Maybe it's too done out for people.
Yeah, let's see if there. That's where you can see the chart.
Okay, well, hold on one second, because what did I get for this? That was Wednesday. I'm running Thursday chart first. Let me just do this. But so anyway, I think that this is interesting to have the sun opposed Lucifer and the full moon be on Lucifer. That happens to be in Virgo. I think it's, we can use Neptune as a lot of the polarization that's been happening between whether it's political parties, ideologies right now, philosophy, science, all these things. But the demonization that just continues to happen with Mars, that's going to be on Algol this week too. I think we can look at it as a positive. Is I think that we're all over it. We're all over it. We're just like peaked out. But there could be some weird event here that definitely is going to be triggered this week by some sort of like demonization event or, demonizing what is, especially in Virgo, Lucifer. It turns Virgo like Lucifer, like hiding himself in like what's pure, which might not be pure. And so a lot of people like to go, oh, I know exactly what's pure right now. And I think that this is like, with Uranus that's training Lucifer too. It's kind of a weird transit with Mars on Algol training Pluto. And if there's an agenda behind it, like you're saying it to what's pure because you're fighting for some side, instead of the side that's just of all humanity, which I think is the most important, then you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself here. So let's run that full moon right now. Aspect, sun, opposed, moon, next, boom. Full moon's actually happening Saturday at midnight in 17 minutes. So I'm going to go back to Friday's horoscope just for the show. I don't know, whatever. Are you able to read the chat or no?
Yeah, but it just disappeared. Let's see. Mm-hmm.
What do people have to say while I'm running some charts real quick and we can talk? I want to hear what do people run Lucifer? I've been running Lucifer now for a couple months and been watching it also in the helio astrology, which has been very interesting as it during some of the peak of a lot of the craziness we saw over the last couple months. Went over Regulus and so forth.
We got a good morning from London, Leo King. Someone's watching from London.
Well, thank you for that. Good morning to you. Good evening from over here in Huntington Beach, California. And please, if I just gotta say this, and I don't want to sound, people probably are like, I'm so sick of hearing the Leo King complain or whatever. This is just like a personal thing. I don't care if your guides are telling you that you feel called to just show up here. If you're not invited to just keep, it's happening again, like so much now. Like, it's just like, it's very uncomfortable for us to work for the employees. It puts everybody at danger. because we don't know who you are. We're not expecting you. We're doing things, and just showing up is just, and then it's always people who just happen again today. And you know, I know my chart is being pounded right now, so I'm not having the best of days. And then it's like, you're not going to make my day better by showing up that I don't know you, and you usually show up with one first name and say, it's just like, we don't even know who you are. I don't know who you are. And sometimes people go, well, I interacted with you online. It's like, did you? Or did you interact with Ann? Or did you interact with Craig? Or did you interact with a bot? Or did you interact with any of my old assistants on my social media? Like, not to sound like a pompous Leo asshole, but I'm sorry to say that I'm not running my own shit all the time. You know what I mean? Some people might be talking to you that might not be me.
Yeah, some people are saying that they don't run Lucifer. They have.
Are they scared of Lucifer?
Is everyone scared of Lucifer,
running
the
it.
asteroid?
I'm scared of Lucifer. It's my Archangel Michael here. But I'm not scared of Lucifer. I think he's a little bitch.
Some people, someone says that they use Lucifer sometimes and that they can get into some serious rabbit holes when it comes to, the asteroids.
Yeah.
To find, I mean, how do people run asteroids? Do you want to look for something that relates personally to you or to some aspect you're interested in? Or are there just some that are better than others?
Well, the number one, body I would say outside of the planets to run is Chiron. I mean, there's a lot of research on Chiron. Chiron is with the planets. It is revolving around the sun. It does have an orbit. It is an interesting time because we found Chiron in 77. And so we haven't seen the full cycle yet, but we are coming in this next about a decade here to the actual completion of a full 51-year cycle of Chiron to actually see it as astrologers in our lifetime. So that's a pretty big deal in itself. But I do also run Juno. I do run Eros. I do run Black Moon Lilith. But then as an astrologer who does predictions and mundane astrology stuff, I do use a lot of other elements, and I don't take them seriously. I take them like sprinkles on a ice cream. And once in a while I'm like, oh, maybe I'll eat a couple of them and see. Sometimes they're relevant. Sometimes the sprinkles will do a lot. It's kind of like how the snow in Texas and New York didn't burn or didn't melt. But the mainstream media didn't want to talk about that. And there's thousands and thousands of TikToks and thousands of Snapchats and thousands of Instagram stories of it. But yet, people don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. It kind of blows my mind.
Someone said that they run it because it's on their Saturn right now. So.
Oh, Lucifer?
Yeah.
Well.
Let's see. What other questions? I see people saying hi to me. So hi, everybody. Is it focused? Someone said it wasn't focused. Looks to me like I see you.
Last week of Mars and Taurus. I'm happy about that. I'm really over Mars and Taurus. As a Mars and Scorpio, I'm just sitting here. And as a Leo, I'm just like, get out of Taurus. I've actually been in one of the worst Indian Vedic dashas. I've been in, of course, Rahu. I'm ending Rahu. I come into Jupiter dasha in September, so I'm in Rahu Mars, but I'm in Rahu Mars Saturn for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. And that's rough. The two malefics with Rahu.
Someone had asked where there's an online calculator for the asteroids. So that would just be.
I mean, astro.com, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can go into extended chart selection and then run it that way. But I think that all in all, this week has a lot of things that are going to come up very intensely for people in their personal lives. And I feel like we're going to have a choice between good or evil. So, not only because it's Pisces Virgo, but also for the fact that we are seeing Lucifer with this full moon. We are seeing it trine to Uranus. So it almost is like, maybe I have a hall pass to do the bad thing. It's like, no, you don't. Uranus and Taurus is, in many ways, I feel, trying to, give you a way to understand where your values sit and to not lose those values. And I got a feeling like the idea of Lucifer too in astrology can go two ways. Like, what does Astro do again for it? The description. I'll just read it to you. The description for Lucifer, which its body number is 1930. Biblical fallen angel going against the status quo. So interesting. There's me, especially with trying to Uranus. There's gonna be a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Ego and pride. So that's why I was saying the kind of that dark kind of energy. Getting carried away with your own self-importance. Facing your inner darkness, bringing to the light. Good or evil?
Is there some sort of double whammy with Lucifer and Algol making aspects to Mars?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is because Algol represents, we get the term alcohol from Algol, but Algol has a positive too. Both of them have a positive. Algol's positive is because it's in Taurus, and it's in Taurus also in Sidereal. You have to remember with Algol, it's about understanding that, one, where do you put your eye, that's like the higher eye of your life, on the material and the means of what you have and what you can manifest and create, or what you even have already, and are you using it for good or using it for bad? And I think that, because Algol can be pretty gnarly. And it has kind of an ego and greedy element to it too. So, like the double star system with, and it's great power, but it can be used for bad or good. And again, it's another thing bringing the subconscious to light, unleashing great passions. I know with my moon on Algol, emotionally, I was just screaming because I lost something, screaming about it to myself. I just, it's really passionate. But sometimes I have to learn hard lessons when I yell to myself about things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if I really want to be in that energy. It's too much, So it's definitely an extreme week. Mm-hmm. And Mercury and Jupiter are trying all week to get back together, but they don't. They do next week, but at the end of the week. So we keep seeing this carrot of this bigger new horizon. I think a good example when I was watching the media today, it's about the pandemic, and it looks like we can go to normal and all that kind of stuff. But then it's almost like, oh no, I don't know yet. Then there's like people saying, oh, I don't know yet. And there's a lot of doubt. And then there's people who are, and that's kind of the South Node issue because Jupiter and the South Node are finishing their sextile, because Mercury and the South Node are going to come into sextile with Jupiter. People start believing in things that maybe factually aren't going to make sense, or maybe factually, and I'm not talking about the pandemic anymore, although you have to apply it in yourself and figure that one for your own self out. I'm not here to get in any more arguments with people. I've been very, very clear about my position on this. But You're going to see Juno and Eros meet too in trine, in square, in square to Neptune. With the moon in Libra, which will be squaring Pluto.
I can see that chart over here, right? If I turn it here.
Oh, yeah.
That one might be better.
Yeah. Yeah, because see, they're going to be at 20. They're going to square this Neptune here at 20, while the moon will be in Libra, square Pluto, and then Mercury 15 will be with that south node at 15. So that's going to be pretty weird. Because, this is going to bring up a lot of love, karmic stuff. And Mars will be at the critical degree of 29 degrees, ready to come into Gemini, where the north node, and that goes into other star system stuff of Aldebaran and, of course, in Taurus. And so there's a lot here about romantic relationships, actually, being a big, big part. And it's kind of like picking the side of the kind of person you want to be, in the life that you want to be, and the kind of people that you want to be. Somebody said, is this a sinful thing? Yeah, it could be, but you got to remember, like, what is the definition of sin? The number one version of sin is going against God, right? And, like, so I think because it's going to bring up relationships a lot, it's like, if you're in a relationship, is your partner and you really doing things together that really are benefiting things for humanity through God, like in benefiting God? Or is it not? If you're dating, are you going to pick the one that fits with more of your spiritual stance? Or are you going to pick that one that's, not really into it and just kind of is missing something from that space? That would be a sin in itself, I guess you could say. I don't want to become all biblical here. And so I think it's important to kind of look at things from that direction. And because there's this Eros, Juno, South Node, square Neptune, I think it can be one, it's going to break the illusions. And those illusions are going to be ones that think they're so amazing and they're not. And then ones where you might break the illusion where you didn't think it was anything and it could be something magical, if it's connected to that much better, higher vibrational place. We also, have Venus, while all this is going down, in Pisces, and it's at +10. Now it's beating Saturn. Very Venus times coming through this full moon, about enjoyment, relationships, big time relationship stuff with Juno and Eros. This can be missed opportunities too for people, because they might be stuck in fear, or because of Lucifer, of overcritical analysis of people. Especially, it's so funny on this day that I showed Tuesday, Venus at 6 degrees of Pisces, exactly opposite Lucifer at 6 degrees. So,
and isn't that the one that's always associated with Lucifer, when it's the morning star or something?
Yeah, the weekend.
Oh, right.
Starboy. The whole thing is about him. He even kills, himself and all that crazy stuff. Like, I do, for all those people out there, because some people on YouTube might not know with the whole Daft Punk thing. If you're on my Instagram and stuff, and I talk about it, of course, on what do you call it, High Vibe all the time. But so I'm just gonna show you this real quick. So the weekend halftime, okay. I'm not gonna put the sound on. We'll just show his little entrance, okay. So he's in the car. He's in Vegas, the city of sin. Okay, he's in the city of sin. He's wearing a red jacket. But okay, that's creepy. Okay, we don't need to go. I don't need to get all Luciferian on you, but we all know that's very Luciferian. Red eyes, all that stuff. Okay, his entrance. So this is why Daft Punk broke up. Literally, there's the breakup. This is Daft Punk, how they always set themselves up in the Grammys and all that stuff. And the first song actually is because of Daft Punk, not him. They're the one who made the beat. And see how they're all robots that are demonic? They're demonic robots. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and then his entrance. See, what does he do when he does his entrance? What is this? Look at his hands. See that? Okay. Now I'm going to show you why this is connected to Daft Punk and why they are saying they broke up, but they're just they're just breaking up from being robots. So, and this comes from the Interstellar 5555, which right after this we'll walk into my music studio and show you I have the original poster from 2003 in my office. Okay, so you can watch this for free. Daft Punk, Interstellar 555, the story of the secret star system. They actually did that with the 4 5s, which is also the number of DNA. Okay, 2003. Ironically, same North Node transit. So the whole story is that like they steal these people from another planet and turn them into human robots and to make them a pop group. And the song One More Time they purposely made actually to prove the point. Okay, like they can see they turn them into human robots. Okay, but so when you get to the bad guy, his name is Darkwood. Okay, and they have to end up going to Darkwood Manor, and when he finally gets there, okay, let's see his hands. Okay, so he's finally gonna get what he wants, which is the gold. Let's see if, yep, there it is. See the whole world in his hands. See that? Okay. Now, Daft Punk, when they're at the Grammys, which they went and had to win the Grammys because they actually future foretold this. All right, hold on. So they name the names. The nominations are, they make up these band names like Blackbird, you know, okay. Trilogy, okay. There's Daft Punk, right? Peace, love, and you see that? Happy? Question? Are you happy? Right? Crescent Dolls. And then when they lose, which they end up winning in both Grammys that they were nominated for in 2007. So watch what they say. Great. Is that a broken heart? But it's a heart. Okay. See how, so the other thing is in the story, or if you guys all get time, this is connected with all the Lucifer stuff going on right now. So on my Instagram, I put up this video of Daft Punk. I took it from it, but in the song, here we go. So, right here. Come through the air. Okay? Come through the air, and then even at the end, I try to show people the difference between The Weeknd and Daft Punk is Daft Punk cares about humans, and The Weeknd doesn't. And The Weeknd only cares about himself. So The Weeknd's sitting in like that Luciferian, I care only about myself. I want to be a star boy. Blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, humans together. Of course, I was at this show twice. Dan's going to do a whole interview and podcast and show about me together. Humans together. So that's the main message of Daft Punk. But when you get to the movie and you get to the scene that the song Come Through the Air is waking them up from being robots. Okay? So he has to come save the day, the main character who saves the day. Come through the air, see? He comes through, and all the people are there, and this is all the sheep in the world that are watching, and see, he's a real human. He's not a human, he's alien, and he's waking them up and breaking them from the spell. Daft Punk is doing that to themselves. They already knew they were going to do it, though, to help break you from the spell when you will finally figure all this shit out and start doing the deep work. I hate to say it, but it's really sad because a lot of people just really haven't woke up and seen through all this stuff. The girl he loves the most, that he fucking Darkwood protects her because he fucking needs somebody, and he's like, you ain't fucking, look how he's dressed in white too when he's really the dark. His name's Darkwood. And then he's got his goons, which are robotic, and they're AI. This is kind of a crazy scene, just the way they do that with the camera stuff. But that's what's crazy about the whole Daft Punk thing going on right now is people like don't know that it goes so deep. Or so last thing I'll show is like, so with Daft Punk, right? They just did their it'll probably pop up right away. Yeah, their epilogue, right? That's saying that's the end of the story, right? This footage, right? So everybody's like, oh, wow, they did this. This shit's old. This shit's over 15 years old. This is a movie called Elektronik that they did right after Human After All. Okay, and I watched this movie and I remember being in all that, okay? So is it over? Because people are like, oh, yeah, right? Just watch this. Most people don't know this. I'm just a Daft Punk nerd. Daft Punk Elektronik. Here it is. Hour and 2 minutes long. It's a whole movie of them being robots. And then basically, boom, there's the scene. There it all is. So when they say they're broken up and they put up a final thing, it's the final end of them being robots. Remember that when they became robots, Daft Punk were DJs. They, like, it's the same exact scene. It's the same exact scene of him blowing up, and then in the background and the sun, it's the same exact scene. Okay, so they didn't go reshoot any of that stuff, but I'm gonna do Daft Punk, Wisconsin, 1996. I only know this shit because when I was young, I wish I was there. This is Daft Punk. This is who they are. They're not robots. That's with drum machines and synths and doing it live. Or like, so like, and then like Thomas Bang Alter has some like, well, this is when he was in LA and he was in Space. And then he showed up in 2009. And that was his manager, Busy P. So like people just gotta like know, like that's Thomas. So like this is not the end that you think of it. It's the end of the robots. And then this whole 93 through 2021. Okay, like that is in the Aquarian thing. They are resetting to a new cycle. To wake people up the same way that movie, their show, the last thing I'll show here is, what do you think this is? The pyramid, like, okay? So most people go, oh yeah, it's Illuminati, and all that stuff. It is from, I'm just that much of a nerd because I've done this for so long, okay? If you know Technologic, which was Human After All, the album, this is before the show in 2006, that was in Coachella. This was 2005. Rip it, drop it, okay? The AI robots that are taking over the world. And what is he sitting in? The pyramid. Okay? That, I don't want to get copyrighted on this, but yeah, so fucking, like, this is what Joe Biden is. This is what Pelosi is. This is what China is, right? They've been trying to wake you up for a long time. And that they have control with this whole fucking weird fucking computer shit, the shot in the arm and the genetic engineering and all that shit. This is what they want to do. And there was one more video that you guys might not. Okay. And prime time of your life is from the human after all, and it shows in the music video. It's an awesome song, by the way. So this poor girl's just sitting watching TV and following, and she sees everybody that are skeletons, and she's sitting there scared and nervous, right, about life. But what she does is she feels like everybody is that way, and she's not. So she decides, and it's a very graphic video, but she decides to rip off her skin to look like everybody else, as like a sheep would do, and ends up realizing that it was all the media had completely tricked her. And I'm just going to just be nice, but I won't say the names of these organizations, but y'all fell for it. Nothing wouldn't help those people. Just put it all in the money in the pockets of the DNC. So, like, basically, people, this Lucifer thing is real. That's why I've been running it. And I'm not saying it's like if you want to understand Lucifer, if we want to use Set from Egypt, that's all I'm saying at the end of the day, though. That's where this is at. That's where this week's at, the choice of good and evil. And I think for some people, they are, like I put it on a live on my Instagram yesterday. When I was in the Navy in 2003, and anybody who talked shit on George Bush and the Patriot Act, I was like, we're defending the country for this and that, and weapons of mass destruction. There were no weapons of mass destruction. I ended up getting kicked out of the Navy. I ended up watching Loose Change in 2003 and being like, this was an inside job. I ended up going, what the fuck? There are people out there that are going to have to see that with the same lunar cycle we're in right now. The same sorrow cycle of the eclipses. That whoever's in control doing all this stuff trying to take away our freedoms more and force you to do things and force this whole T-erism thing are the Neos, and now they're Neo-libs. So I'm just, and some people don't like that I get political on here, but it's more about collective. I do mundane astrology, and that's the state of the world. And I do history, and also look what happened with JFK with this last new moon we just had with Jupiter and Saturn. A year after that, he was killed, and he was against the Cold War. Or he fought against communism, but he didn't want the Cold War. But he fought it the proper way. You see the administration doing that right now against China. Didn't want to go to Vietnam. Guess what? Once they shot him, we ended up going to Vietnam. Brought Martin Luther King to the White House. That's not what Johnson wanted. Johnson, if you look at his voting record and you look at the Democrats' voting record in 1958 in the Senate and 59 when they tried civil rights, nope, it was the Democrats who did it. Guess who passed the Civil Rights Act? So everybody thinks it was the Dems because, of course, it was Johnson in 64, right? Like, so the Civil Rights Act is 64, right? So the legislation was proposed by JFK, but was opposed by filibuster in the Senate after Kennedy was assassinated. And that filibuster was by the Democrats, his own party. Okay, so like when you actually get to like giving all Americans a people. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. The Senate Minority Leader and the Senate Majority might both voice support for the president's bill, except for provisions of equal access to public where it was referred to the Judiciary Committee, chaired a Democrat from New York. After a series of clamors, committee strengthened the adding provisions to ban racial discrimination. They also added Kennedy called the congressional leaders to the White House. Johnson's appealed it. So a Democrat and staunch segregationist from Virginia indicted his intention to keep the bill bottled up indefinitely. A Democrat. Then Johnson comes in, and when it passes in the Senate, it's from It's like, this is the worst civil rights package ever to the Congress and a reconstruction proposal and actions of a radical Republican Congress. That's what Democrats were saying. Strong oppositions to the bill from Democrats. The so-called civil rights proposals, which the president has sent to Capitol Hill for enactment in law, are unconstitutional, unnecessary, unwise, and extend beyond the realm of reason. This is the worst civil rights package ever presented to the Congress and is reminiscent of the Reconstruction proposals and actions of the radical Republican Congress. Radical, that was on the Republicans are on the side with Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was not Democrat or Republican. But you have that filibusters from all these people, and it was the vote totals, right? So by party, 138 to 34 was the original House version. 152 to 96. Closure in the Senate, boom. Republican Party, fucking 27 to 6, 44 to 33, 82%. The Senate version, 82%. Boom. Republican Party. The Republicans are what passed the Civil Rights Act. By a Democratic president. The only way that Joe Biden can really make a mark is if he actually sides with Republicans on certain issues right now. That's the only way that this whole entire thing is going to come back. Look at this. Note that Southern, as used here, refers to members of Congress from the 11 states that have made up the Confederate States of America in the American Civil War. Northern refers to the members of the 39 states. Now we're flipped. Now Southern's about freedom and Northern is about slavery of nobody opening their businesses and so forth. So, you know, this thing's going to get really crazy now, especially with Saturn square Uranus. And what you think is so good, you know, is not. And what you think is insane is not. And using the Daft Punk reference and using a lot of that stuff, using the Neptune transit of 1854 through 856 with the VOTING issues of the Kansas-Nebraska Act and double voting and all that shit and killing people, and then the governor just goes, I'm going to go with those results because I don't want to cause any more issues. A lot of that same sentiment's going on right now. I don't want to deal with all this, and I don't want to deal with all the weird things that happen. The Supreme Court's doing the same thing. Same thing happened in 1856. So I got to roll. I got to go do the show, but a lot to think about, good or evil, and make sure that you understand that that evil can come looking like it's good when it's really bad. And the good can be looking like it's bad when it's really good.
Did you want to show your poster?
Yeah, we can walk up there. Oh, I just have to get this one last chart so I can just move on with this.
We'll do a little pixie moment while you're getting it, because she's so cute.
Yeah, I get a little pixie moment.
Pixie, say hi.
Heliocentric.
Let's see where Leo is now.
Charlico.
Oh, yeah.
Charlico. She comes to zero Aquarius and Helio this week while we're having all this Venus activity.
I did see someone asking about Charlico. And
Yeah, well, finally she's coming into Aquarius Helio-wise. So that's going to be a big deal. That will be a big one. All right, not bad. Boom. So...
Oh, here's Leo. He's being too quiet. And I think people should see your projector up here, too.
Oh.
Pretty cool.
My office. That's my altar. Oh, speaking of Daft Punk, and I have not changed things. You can say, hey, it's not like I just... No.
Nope, it's been here.
This is the album where they became robots. Actually, hold on. The people need to get the story. It's a story. They fucked with the press. They fucked with the press. This is where they became human, wearing, look at, normal sweatshirts and put on the helmets, and they talk about imprinting themselves with chips. So,
Do they understand the astrology too? Would they know these? Are they into astrology?
they're very private people.
Mm.
So, but if you don't have that understanding, then I don't know what else there is to understand. You know what I mean? So, let's take a look at this, and then I'm out of here. I just gotta do this quick show, and then we're outsies. Here, I got the door in. So let me just show you this. That is all. That is all, folks. This is where I make all the music and everything, and this thing's worth a lot of money now, actually. This is original, and this is actually from Germany, because of course this movie aired in multiple countries, but this is originally from outside a German theater. It's in English and German, and it's the actual movie, and it premiered, of course, in Japan in 2003, but the date of this was April 9th, 2003, right here. And this is the Daft Punk, and this is in German, because it was a German, this is a German poster, and then they even have Daft Punk in the eyes. But this is the original poster from the outside. So, that was one of the benefits of living in Hollywood when Daft Punk used to sell their merchandise at, they had a little Daft Punk. They have their studio in LA, and they have one in France. 2014. So, anyway, make sure that you check out highvibe.tv, and then we're doing a bunch. I'm not lying. You can ask Ann. I just ordered a bunch of stuff we're going to be putting out so much more free content. So even though you haven't seen much, it's been because we're rebuilding a lot and doing a lot. You're going to be getting so much free content, you're going to want to throw up again. Bah! I love you all. On this one, there's an X at the top right, I think. Later.